Welcome to the Bureau of General Services Queer Division. My name is Greg Newton, and my partner Donnie Jokum is photographing me. And we're the Bureau, along with many volunteers. We have Tom helping out at the bar, and that's how we do things, all volunteer. So if you ever want to help us with our projects, we welcome you to volunteer. Other ways you can help this project are to spread the word and let people know about our presence and what we do here. We're a queer bookstore, but we're also an event space, and we host a lot of events here, pretty much 5 nights a week. So we're busy. So we can use the help and the support, and you can support us also by buying books, buying drinks, making donations. But thank you for coming out on a cold February night. Glad to see so many people are here. And I'm going to give a brief introduction and then turn it over to our guests. As soon as I get this. All right. So, a leading figure in the current generation of Palestinian writers, Raji Bathish comes to us straight from Nazareth to read from his genre-defying provocative texts that unsettle both liberal Zionists and Palestinian nationalists. And we have Sunila Mubai translating and facilitating, and she's the one who organized this event. She's the one who organized this event. Thank you.
Should I plug it back?
Yeah, you can put it in there if you want.
Okay, how do I? Okay, thanks so much, Greg and Donnie, for hosting us. Can't believe we're finally here in the Bureau with this exciting event, the last of Raji's readings in New York. I'm so thrilled and honored to have Raji Bathish with us today. I consider him the pioneer of a new style of Palestinian literature, and I consider him to have decisively queered the literary scene in Palestine by being one of the first to write, to interrogate sexuality and identity in all its different forms, whether the gender, the national, as something that the powerful impose upon people on the ground. So he's a Palestinian poet, novelist, screenplay writer, cultural activist. I think you also studied chemical engineering at some point in your youth. Born and raised in Nazareth, his work has been widely published across the Arab and recognized across the Arab world. He's published 8 books of poetry and short stories. The best known of which is A Room in Tel Aviv, published in 2007, and his latest book, which is on sale here in Arabic, is called Here Played Rosa. And several of his essays, poems, short stories have been translated in various magazines and forums on print and online in English. And he's the editor of the first queer fiction page on the forum within the Green Line in Palestine called Kadita, a cultural forum online. And now currently he's co-editor of the radical literary page called anboob.net that seeks to promote a Palestinian and Arabic literature. So it's a kind of a pan-Arab, pan-Syrian project that seeks to promote a literature without the imposition of patriarchal borders of genre or nationality. Wow, I can just go on and on. I mean, I think his voice is a new one to the Arab reader and to the Western reader, because it challenges the dominant perception of Palestinians as defined solely by the conflict and by the Israeli occupation of their homeland. He's always said that he wanted to write against the stereotypical picture of the Palestinian in the Arab reader's imagination, and wants to bring the reality of living with the Israeli other to the Arab reader from a very direct and equal perspective that dispenses with the usual cliches of occupation, of the violated land, of the Palestinian as the helpless victim, and of the yearning of tired symbols like za'atar and olive trees and oranges. It's a very direct, sort of rude kind of contact with the Israeli other without any kind of beautification. So, with that said, we're going to start out with a little extract first from a text called Memory Smuggled in a Louis Vuitton Handbag from his latest book, which will be read in Arabic first, and then I'll read the translation. And welcome, Raji.
Welcome to everybody. I'm very honored to be here in my last reading in New York. I'm a little bit, I have cold, so from your incredible weather. So if sometimes I will pass to Arabic and because my English is not is influenced by the medicines and it's not so healthy. I will read a paragraph from the text that Sonila mentioned. عجز نجلس أنا وأمي أمام الشاشة أسألها ماذا طهوت اليوم يا أمي؟ وكأن الطهي هو ما سيحفظ الذاكرة، تلك الذاكرة الهاربة المتسربة الزئبقية، الذاكرة التي بيننا، ما تعرفه أمي عني وما أظن أنها لا تعرفه. كانت أمي تشاهد الرجال في عيوني وهم يثبتون ربطة عنقهم ويربطون أحذيتهم ويهرولون تاركين عصائر جذوتهم على حافة خاصرتي إلى بيوتهم ومباريات صمتهم. أسأل أمي مجددا ماذا طهوت اليوم يا أمي؟ وكأن الطهي هو ما يحفظ الذاكرة، ذاكرة الذنب والخوف، ذاكرة الفرار من البيت عن طريق الفرار إليه. أغير السؤال: هل تذكرين عندما فررت بثوب مارمطانس وكأن أمي تجيبني؟ ما بالك تصارع ذاكرتي؟ إنها لي وأنا حرة بشأنها. أما أنك تخاف ألا أتذكرك يوما؟ انظر إلى الشاشة، كم من الأشخاص يموتون ويتعذبون في هذه اللحظة التي تثرثر فيها.
So this was translated to English by Yosef Araz, and I made some slight edits to it. Helplessness. My mother and I sit in front of the screen. I ask her, "What did you cook today, Mother?" As if cooking is what preserves memory, that same evasive, hidden, mercurial memory, the memory that is between us. What my mother knows about me and what I think she doesn't know. My mother would observe the men inside my eyes, fastening their ties, tying their shoelaces, and hurrying on their way to leave the sap of their fiery climax on the margins of my waist and go to their houses and their contests of silence. I asked my mother once again, "What have you cooked today, Mother?" As if cooking is what preserves memory, the memory of guilt and fear, the memory of running away from home by escaping toward home. I changed the question. Do you remember that when I escaped, I was wearing the costume of Saint Anthony, and it was as if my mother answered me, "Why are you fighting my memory? It's mine, and I'm free to do what I please with it. Or perhaps you're afraid I won't remember you one of these days. Look at the screen. So many people are dying and being tortured at this very moment while you're chattering." So, where's this kind of this sense of melancholy in this, in this text, coming from? Especially because, you're mentioning a Louis Vuitton handbag in the in the title, and then I also. So I want to ask you about this sense of melancholy, in this passage, and then also I find the division of gender roles that you have here very interesting between the men and the narrator's mother, and I kind of want to ask you, like, what kind of gender identity do you feel you have when you write?
Wow. Somehow, when I write, I have this feeling that the memory or the story, the memory is kept with the woman, with my mother, with the aunts, with the woman I like, and so most of my texts are when I want to speak about my memory and my remembrance of things. I always somehow I have a dialogue with the woman, mother or sister, whatever, lover. But there is a very clear division between the man and the woman in my texts. The men always play the role of abusers or sexual subjects, objects, objects. But I feel mostly as a woman when I write, but there's a difference. I feel like a mix of genders, really mix of genders. So I feel myself. I write in the name of myself, but about the melancholy. It's part of. I think it's part of the Palestinian life, but not only the Palestinian life, but who deal with arts and philosophy and whatever, but because you all the time, especially me, I feel all the time that I'm living in a certain place which is lost. So I'm
sense of mourning, or
there is a continuous sense of mourning all the time when I'm writing. So it's all the time I have in parallel, when I write my text, in parallel I have the sense of mourning, of melancholy, of the continuous and endless grief, and the same way the passion of life, the passion of to know the truth, or to not the truth, to write about the things. So it goes in parallel.
So, since Alasirat Immak, since we're talking about your mother, I thought it was interesting you wrote in this really amazing article in the Journal of Palestine Studies about the current generation of Palestinian writers. You wrote that your mother, when you were younger, used to say, Raji Taliq Tir Falastini, that Raji's come out too Palestinian. And you wrote, this is what my mother would say to friends and relatives in an attempt to justify and explain the features of this weird existence, my existence. So what does this mean? I mean, why is she, sitting in Palestine saying that you're too Palestinian?
I think that the meaning of that she don't mean it's a collective identity. She means that in those years, the 80s or the late 80s, when I was teenager, so it was forbidden in Israel to say that, to mention the identity Palestinian. It was against the law, not against the law, but not acceptable. It was very was not acceptable to raise the flag of the nation of Palestine. So after the first Intifada in '87, so everything was changed, and a lot of things were. The Palestinians that live inside Israel and hold the Israeli citizenship, they become more aware of their national identity or national background.
But for you, Palestinian, being too Palestinian was never a national identity. Right?
Okay, but I was raised in a very Middle Eastern Catholic conservative family. So for them, they was all the time want to be in the safe side with the government, with the regime, with the
social order.
With the social order. So in this way, I think she. I'm not sure. I don't think I'm sure. She means that I am a radical, too much activist, too much against the social order. This is the meaning of Palestinian for her this way. But there was, and my reading in NYU was misunderstanding. Some from audience thought that there is a collective identity of Palestinian that she meant. No, she meant a very specific
because she's
aspect.
Not saying that you're calling you Palestinian in front of the Israelis. She's calling you too Palestinian in your family, intimate context, right?
Yes, it's the meaning of that too much revolutionist and not again the social order.
So
I mean it's very stupid to say you are too much Lebanese or you are too much French.
So that said, why don't we move to read another one of your revolutionary texts that I consider to be revolutionary on several levels, form and content. It's called in Arabic "Dhikrayatu Kharif Qadim" or "Memories of a Coming Autumn," and it's part of your new book. So he's going to read an extract first in Arabic, and then I'll read it in English.
Anyone know Arabics here? Okay. لا عشان خايف أعمل أخطاء لغوية عشان مش مركز.
راح ترفع المنصوب.
ذكريات خريف قادم. كل ما حلمت به أن نذهب سوية إلى فيلم فرنسي باريسي عن علاقات عائلية متوترة تفضي إلى لا شيء، ثم نذهب إلى مطعم صغير يختبئ خلف جبال ما تبقى من بياض القمر، نتمشى في جادة حين، نجتاز قصر الثقافة، هيكل المسرح الوطني، مسرحهم مسرحنا على يميننا، نمضي في جادة روتشيلد حتى آخرها، نستقل خط 5، أنام معك في شقتك أو تنام معي في شقتي، نبلغ خشوعنا معا، تتسلل في الفجر بعد أرق قصير معقول، أنهض لوحدي وهكذا. كل ما حلمت به أن نذهب في المساء إلى فيلم بوسني عن ارتدادات الحرب الأهلية. نرفع أرجلنا على المقاعد الحمراء شبه الفارغة، نتبادل النكات مع الموجودين. يخبرنا حارس الصالة عن حلمه اللحوح عن موت جديد. تأخذني بين ذراعيك في ليل خريفي طال انتظاره. نتمشى في شوارع الخريف، لا شيء يتساقط على رؤوسنا، لكن روائح هذا الفصل تصفعنا، رائحة برتقال غض وكآبة، كآبة أنيقة. تحجز وجنتي بين كفتيك، تقبلني بشيء من الحرارة. أنا ذلك الطفل الشقي الفار من إجازات الأعياد العبرية. لا رغبة حادة في عيونك، لا رغبة للدهشة في عيوني. أنام معك في شقتك، أنقب عن صلاة جديدة عند أسفل خاصرتك، أغادر بعد الفجر، أتناول قهوتي في زاوية الرتابة الدامعة في مونتفيوري، وهكذا. كل ما أردت أن أقوله هيا بنا، فلنذهب إلى فيلم رومانسي غريب غير ناطق بالإنجليزية ولا بالعبرية طبعا. نتناول قهوة سريعة وسمبوسك محشيا بجبنة الفيتا والزعتر المنهوب. نتمشى عند حواف الشطر المتهالك من المدينة في محيط ألمبي يهودا ليفي مثلا. نقطر الشجن في قارورة العادة، نقطر الاحتياج من دموع أوراق تأبى أن تتساقط دون أن تملي شروطها. أحدثك عن ذكريات لوقائع لم تحدث في الشارع المقبل، وقصص لذة مشبعة برائحة البول والبراز عند هذه الزاوية وتلك 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 التي بعدها، وعن اشتياقي لسجن مديني يتسرسب طيلة الوقت من بين أناملي ويضيع كل مرة من جديد. ها هي ريح خريفية رطبة تتألق ثم تندم. فلنذهب إلى نزلك الحقير، ننام سوية لألعق رطوبة أيامك وأموت من نار الشهوة، ثم أفر في الساعة 1 وأسير لوحدي حتى بوابات يافا. كل ما حلمت به أن نذهب سوية لفيلم إيراني عن قمع النساء، ثم نجلس في مقهى يقدم الشطائر المحمرة حتى 11، ثم أنام معك كما في كل ليل خريف يحتفي بعذوبة عاديته، وأمضغ وجودنا حتى الثمالة. أغرس أظافري في كفليك وهما ينقبضان داخلي، ولكن القطط المذبوحة التي حلمت بامتلاكها في شقتي كانت ستنتظرنا عند مدخل الحسرة هكذا.
Memories of a coming autumn. 1. All I dream of, for us to go together to a Parisian French film about strained family relations that result in nothing. Then we go to a small restaurant that hides behind the remaining streaks of the moon's whiteness. We stroll on Hen Boulevard, we go past the Palace of Culture, the skeleton of the National Theatre, their theatre, on our right. We go on to Rothschild Boulevard until it ends. We take the number 5. I sleep with you in your apartment, or you sleep with me in mine. We orgasm to our devoted submissiveness together. You sneak out at dawn after a short, understandable insomnia. I get up alone, and that's how it is. 2. All I dream of, that we go in the evening to a film, a Bosnian film about the aftermath of the Civil War. We put our legs up on the largely empty red seats. We exchange jokes with those present. The security guard tells us of his recurring dream of a new death. You take me into your arms on a long-awaited autumn night. We stroll in the autumn streets. Nothing comes down on our heads. But the smells of the season strike us. The smell of juicy oranges and melancholy, an elegant melancholy. You clasp my cheeks between your shoulders. You kiss me with a sort of passion. I am that naughty child who escapes the vacations of the Hebrew holidays. There is no strong desire in your eyes. There is no desire for astonishment in my eyes. I sleep with you in your apartment. I hunt for a new prayer at the bottom of your waist. I leave after dawn. I drink my coffee at the corner of tearful tedium in Montefiore. And that's how it is. 3. All I want to say, come on, let's go to a strange romantic film not in English, and not in Hebrew, of course. Let us drink a quick coffee and have a sambusek stuffed with feta cheese and stolen za'atar. Let us stroll at the edges of the worn-out parts of the city, for instance, in the vicinity of Allenby Yehuda Halevi. Let us drip unbridled emotion into the vial of habit. Let us drip want from the tears of leaves that refuse to fall without dictating their conditions. I speak to you about memories of events on the next street that never happened, and stories of pleasure suffused with the smell of urine and excrement at this corner, and that one, and that one, and the one after it, and of my yearning for an urban prison that seeps through my fingertips constantly and gets lost every time anew. Here is a wet autumn wind that glitters and then feels regret. Let us go to your squalid dump of a dormitory, sleep together. Let me lick the wetness of your days and die from the fire of lust. Then I shall slip away at 1 o'clock and go alone until the gates of Jaffa. 4. All I dream of. We go together to an Iranian film about the oppression of women, then sit in a cafe that serves grilled sandwiches until 11 o'clock. Then I sleep with you, just like on every autumn night that celebrates the charm of its normalcy. And I gnaw on our presence to the point of drunkenness. I sink my fingers into your buttocks as they contract inside me. But the slain cat that I dreamed of possessing in my apartment would have awaited us at the entrance to grief. And that's how it is. So, after this, what I keep thinking of as I translate and I read this text is, what is the narrator trying to say about the possibility of the Palestinian queer being able to live a normal life in the Israeli city? Why there's a sense of failure here of trying to have an intimate relation with the other in his city, and it fails. Why is that? And can you talk about that a little bit?
Okay. Even though the Israeli government and the tourist information ministry, I think, they market Tel Aviv as the best gay city in the Middle East, but the reality is it's a little bit different, because it's a very nice city, but it's a nice city in its way. It's a symbol of the occupation. It's a symbol of the Zionism, of the Israeli aggression, of the humiliation, the daily humiliation of the Palestinians. So I tried to live there 8 years. It was it's really a small, nice city, but when you try to look for a relationship, and normally it will be with Israeli guy, so usually there is the
lack of imbalance of power, right?
Yes. Suddenly it becomes there is the lack of imbalance of power between the two sides. You feel like you are in a strange place. You try to make a life to walk with a dog in a normal place, but it's not like that, because you are in his city, in his cultural city, which hates your language. And especially if you are a artist, or you create in the Arabic language in a city that hates the Arabic language, if they hear it, they think that you are going to bomb
Blow yourself up.
Yes. So it's very difficult to be there. So it's an illusion that the only safe space for queers is in Tel Aviv. It's a holy bullshit. Because maybe it's very tolerant, but there is a lot of means of depression that the Palestinian queer can face in such a city.
He has to pay a price.
Yes, he has to pay a price. He needs to be part of the mid-class gay community in the city, so he needs to and tell them all the time, you are great, you are the liberators of the queers in the Middle East, you are very liberal. And there was some stories in the last years that about gay Palestinians that are threatened of violence and to be killed in West Bank cities, and they ask for a refugee or to be asylum in Israel, inside Israel, and it
became clear.
It became clear that it was a faking story. But I don't want to make a romanticization or idealization of the Arabic or Palestinian queer status, but Israel usually uses this issue for political reason, to show that it is the island of freedom and the bloody Middle East. But there are a lot of